Welcome back to CognitionChunks Yellowstone. Day 3 Part 2. We basically saw a cascade and a herd of bison this afternoon. Indigenous narratives. Creation stories. For many Native American tribes like the Shoshone, Blackfeet, and Crow, Yellowstone is a sacred space featuring prominently in their creation stories. These narratives often explain natural features like hot springs and geysers as the work of gods or spirits, emphasizing a deeply spiritual connection to the land. Animal myths. Stories often personify animals like the wolf, bear, or eagle, presenting them as wise, cunning, or noble beings. These myths promote respect for animal species and serve as cautionary tales for coexisting with wildlife, reflecting a holistic view of nature. Spiritual landmarks. Specific sites within Yellowstone, like certain rock formations or bodies of water, are often considered sacred and feature in tribal myths as places of spiritual significance. Modern myths and legends. The idea of wilderness, the modern conceptualization of Yellowstone as a wild, untamed land, is itself a form of folklore. It reinforces the idea that nature is a place separate from human civilization where one can find adventure or danger, reflecting the dualistic Western view of humanity versus nature. Cryptozoology. Tales of unexplained creatures like Bigfoot or lake monsters in Yellowstone add a layer of mystery and allure to the park. While often rooted in exaggeration or misinterpretation, these stories symbolize the human fascination with the unknown in nature. Supernatural stories. Ghost stories and accounts of supernatural occurrences in park lodges or trails add a different dimension to how people interact with or perceive the natural surroundings, often imbuing them with a sense of awe or dread. Human-nature relationship. Indigenous myths often portray a symbiotic relationship with nature, wherein humans are not superior but a part of the ecosystem. Shoshone creation narratives. Coyote is a creator and trickster. In many Shoshone myths, Coyote often serves as a central figure in creation narratives. Coyote is generally considered a trickster but is also involved in the creation of the world and humanity. In some stories, Coyote collaborates with Wolf, another key figure, to shape the world. World creation. The specifics of world creation often involve primeval waters or darkness from which the earth is formed. Animals, mountains, rivers, and humans emerge from this initial chaos, sometimes shaped or guided by figures like Coyote. The role of animals. Animals are not just passive creations but active participants in shaping the world. They often serve as messengers, guides, or teachers, imparting essential skills or moral lessons to humans. Emergence and journey. Some Shoshone creation stories emphasize the theme of emergence, where the ancestors of the Shoshone emerge from the earth or from an underworld. This is followed by a journey, often led by spiritual figures or animals, where the people find their home territories and establish their relationship with the land and other beings. Shoshone myths about locations in Yellowstone. Hot springs and geysers. These natural features are often considered sacred and have specific stories that explain their creation. For instance, they may be the result of a battle between spiritual entities, or they may have been created as a gift to the people for purification and healing. Mountains. Peaks and mountain ranges may be viewed as the abode of spirits or ancestors and are often central figures in myths that describe the origins of the Shoshone people and their lands. Rivers and lakes. Bodies of water often have mythological significance, considered either as pathways to other realms or as the dwelling places of specific animals or spirits that have influence over the land and its inhabitants. Animal myths. Certain locations in Yellowstone may be linked to stories about how particular animals acquired their characteristics. For example, a specific cliff or valley might be related to a narrative explaining how the eagle received its keen eyesight. What these myths reveal about human-nature interaction. Holistic worldview. Unlike the often anthropocentric view of many Western traditions, the Shoshone generally consider humans as equal participants in a broader ecosystem, where plants, animals, and natural features have intrinsic value and agency. Spiritual connection. The mythological importance of natural features like hot springs and mountains indicates a deeply spiritual relationship with the land, where the natural world is not just a resource but a living entity to be respected. Moral and ethical codes. The tales often include lessons about the right way to interact with animals, plants, and each other, serving as a form of social and ethical guidance. Cultural identity and continuity. These myths connect current generations to their ancestors, to their traditional territories, and to the broader cosmic order, reinforcing a sense of identity and continuity. Themes in Shoshone creation narratives. Dualism and balance. In many indigenous narratives, the concept of balance between contrasting elements, example, good and evil, life and death, male and female, is integral. In Shoshone myths, figures like Coyote and Wolf often embody this dualism, where Coyote, despite being a trickster, often contributes to the balance of the world. Sacred numbers and repetitions. The use of numbers like 4 or 7 can have spiritual and symbolic significance, representing cardinal directions, layers of the cosmos, or fundamental elements. You may find repetitive structures in the stories, emphasizing the significance of actions or lessons. Interconnectedness of life. The roles animals and natural elements play in creation stories often depict a worldview where all life forms are interconnected and interdependent, emphasizing ecological stewardship as a moral responsibility. Transformation. The act of transformation or metamorphosis is another recurring theme. For instance, animals might transform into natural landmarks or vice versa, reinforcing the mutable and interconnected nature of reality. Geographic myths related to Yellowstone. Animistic features. Geographic features like mountains, rivers, and lakes are often endowed with spirits or souls in Shoshone mythology. The presence of these spirits can make these locations places of worship, meditation, or pilgrimage. Time and myth. Some locations might be associated with myths that are perceived to occur in a time outside regular human history, often referred to as dream time or mythic time. These are considered to be dynamic and ongoing, continuously influencing the present. Teaching landscapes. Certain features in Yellowstone might be considered teaching landscapes, where various myths and stories related to them are used to educate younger generations about moral, ethical, and practical aspects of life. Resource management. Myths may also dictate or guide the sustainable use of resources, like which plants to harvest at what times or which fishing grounds are to be considered sacred and therefore not to be exploited. Sacred numbers. 4. The number 4 is commonly significant in many Native American traditions, and the Shoshone are no exception. This number often represents the cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west, and can symbolize completeness or wholeness. In religious or mythological contexts, the number 4 might refer to the 4 elements, earth, air, fire, water, or the 4 stages of life, birth, youth, adulthood, death. 7. Although not as universally emphasized as 4, the number 7 also finds its place in various Native American mythologies, sometimes appearing in Shoshone tales. 7 could symbolize spiritual perfection or completeness in a different sense than 4, often encompassing a cosmic or celestial dimension. Repetitions. Narrative repetition. In oral traditions, repetition serves as a mnemonic device, making the story easier to remember and retell. It also places emphasis on particular elements or themes within the story, which can aid in teaching or moral instruction. Ritualistic repetition. In religious or cultural practices, repeating certain actions, prayers, or songs can serve to solidify the community's shared beliefs and to enact spiritual or metaphysical outcomes. These repeated elements can be thought of as a form of sacred technology that seeks to engage with the supernatural or natural world in a specific way. Thank you for joining us for another CognitionChunks episode. Please like and subscribe.